The land that belonged to the farmers had been a safe haven to Kylee and her friends 10 years earlier, and it had been one again when all else was lost. Everything she had worked so hard to build had been utterly destroyed when the terrorist organization had moved from the shadows into the light. A great conspiracy had been revealed that had been under her nose for years. Somehow, she and those who fought alongside her had persevered. The fighters representing the sons of Tiberius were broken and scattered in the dust. Whatever force they had left on the island was useless, with the steady supply of their unearthly power and the terrorist group's leadership both cut off. Enrique and Wilson had both been killed in the battle, and that was surely a great victory. But at what cost? Ryan was dead. Her steadfast, loyal friend of 10 years and the leader of her science division had fallen in battle. His interventions and ultimate sacrifice had turned the tide of a hopeless conflict and had brought them victory. And now he was gone, and Bill and Galaxy were maybe dying, along with however many others she had never had the privilege to know. The ground was littered with bodies, representing both the defeated and the triumphant. The survivors, many of them women of the sands, swarmed like ants, working to clear the blood-soaked dust of the human remains. She didn't know where the bodies would be buried. In previous times of mass death, the deceased had been buried at sea. She wanted better than that for her side, and felt that it demonstrated a certain level of decency to show respect to those she had fought against. She stepped toward Theo, who was lowering Bill gently to the ground. It always came back to Theo, didn't it? The remarkable boy who had stolen her heart when she was herself just a girl. And yet here he was, as young as the day they'd met. Hardened by war, certainly, but no less idealistic than he'd been from the time of the event. And she? She knew what she saw in the mirror. Hints of creases in her formerly smooth skin. A scar from a brush with death during one of the island's superstorms. Worst of all, a darkness in her eyes. The woman she had become had little in common with that laughing, flirty girl of so long ago. In the deep storehouse of her memories she could recall that first night when she and Theo had met. Their brief courtship had been interrupted by the disaster the event wrought, but it had led to the blossoming of the sweetest love she'd ever known. She had thought him lost for so many years, but now he was back, and she still didn't know what exactly that meant. A shadow of night had fallen over the island. In the recesses of her mind she knew how little sense that made. The battle that had led to all the destruction she saw before her had taken place in the early daytime. Consciously, she was too consumed with everything at hand to worry about such anomalies. She planned to step in and reinstitute her command. With the sons defeated and both of the other counselors dead, she was once again the de facto leader of Atlantic Island. She moved forward and prepared to speak, but a sharp crackle of energy stopped her in her tracks and brought her eyes to the darkening sky.
"People of the island," a voice thundered from the heavens. "Your existence has disrupted the balance of the multiverse. As a courtesy, you will have 36 hours. At that time, your pocket universe will be destroyed in accordance with the statutes of the Universal Time and Space Division."
She made eye contact with Theo. He looked at her for permission, and she granted it with a nod.
"You have no right to threaten us,"
he yelled, his voice hoarse and strained.
"We just want to go home. Help us. Bring all of the people here back to the real universe."
36 hours, the voice said again.
Was it some kind of recording? Despite the supernatural powers she had witnessed that very day, she wondered what kind of terrifying capability could produce such a thing as this threatening, godlike voice. Suddenly, 2 men emerged from the thin air, with the sizzling sound of supercharged air molecules colliding. Both men looked wounded and exhausted.
"Thomas!"
Theo shouted.
"What the hell is this? You said everything would be better."
"I was wrong," the older of the men replied.
"I'd hoped, but I was wrong.